Rylan had always lived a quiet life on the far edge of the desert town. He worked alone in a dusty old workshop where the air smelled of metal, oil, and warm sand. Everyone in town knew that if something was broken, anything from a tractor engine to a solar generator, Rylan could fix it. He wasn't famous, but he was trusted, and the people around him liked knowing someone like him existed nearby. One late afternoon, he was finishing repairs on an old hover cart when the ground under his feet trembled. It wasn't an earthquake. It was more like a single heavy thump far in the distance. Rylan lifted his head, confused. The desert was usually silent at that hour. He stepped outside, shielding his eyes from the bright sun as he looked across the empty land stretching for miles. There was nothing, no dust storm, no vehicles. Still, something had landed out there. He felt it dot. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and walked back inside, but he couldn't shake the strange feeling. After a few minutes, curiosity got the better of him. He grabbed his toolkit, locked the workshop, and set off toward the open desert with the small rover. He kept for long drives. The sun was beginning to dip when he reached the far side of the dunes. That's when he saw it dot at first. He thought a meteor had crashed. A long trench carved through the sand led to something half buried at the end. But as he got closer, he realized this was no rock from the sky. It was metal smooth, silver, and shaped in a way no human aircraft had been shaped before. The edges of the vessel glowed faintly, as if it still held some leftover energy, even after the crash. Rylan stopped the rover and sat still for a moment. His heart beat faster. He had read stories and heard rumors about unidentified craft, strange lights, and things people claimed to see. But Rylan was a practical man. He liked screws, wires, and things he could understand with his hands. This, however, was different. He slowly stepped out of the rover and walked toward the strange object. The air around it felt warmer than the rest of the desert. He reached out and touched the metal surface. It hummed softly under his fingers, almost like it was alive. Then he heard a sound soft, weak, almost like a creature in pain. Rylan jerked back, eyes wide. He looked around, unsure what to expect, but the sound came again. It wasn't a growl or a roar. It was more like a deep mechanical sigh mixed with something organic. Cautiously, he moved toward the other side of the vessel, and that's when he froze. A giant creature lay partly buried in the sand. It was unlike anything he had seen. Its body looked like a mix of smooth black metal and living muscle, fused together as if it had grown that way naturally. Large plates of armor covered its shoulders and chest. Faint blue lights pulsed along its back. It wasn't moving much. Only its chest rose and fell slowly. Rylan took a small step forward. The creature's head tilted slightly, and he saw one glowing eye open, not bright, but dim and unfocused. It looked at him, not with anger or threat, but with something closer to exhaustion. He knew he should probably run or call someone. This creature was enormous, easily taller than a bus if it stood up. But the way it breathed, the way it looked at him, it felt like it needed help. "Hey, can you hear me?" Rylan asked, feeling foolish talking to something that might not even understand language. The creature blinked slowly. Its chest lights flickered weakly. "It's okay," Rylan said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." He walked around it carefully and saw the damage. A large metal spike, probably from the crashed vessel, was stuck deep along its side. Sparks flickered from a cracked panel on its shoulder. Even the organic parts seemed burned, as if the creature had pushed itself harder than it could handle. Rylan had fixed machines all his life. And though this wasn't any machine he recognized, his instinct kicked in. Something was broken. Something needed repair. He looked at his rover parked behind him, then at the massive creature lying helpless. No way could he leave it here. The desert nights got cold, and if the creature was already struggling, It might not survive. He approached slowly, keeping his movements calm. The creature watched him with a tired gaze, but it didn't attack or growl. It simply breathed, silently asking for help without words. Rylan knelt near its damaged side. The metal spike had to be removed, but doing it here could harm the creature more. He needed proper tools, his workbench, and the safety of his workshop. "Listen," he said softly. "I'm going to try helping you, but I need to move you. I don't know if you understand me, but trust me, okay?" The creature blinked once, as if acknowledging him. Using every tool and piece of lifting equipment he had brought on the rover, Rylan began the long, slow process of freeing the creature from the sand. It wasn't easy. Its weight was incredible, and its body shifted unpredictably between soft, living tissue and solid metal plates. Several times he nearly lost his balance or dropped a tool, but he kept going as he worked. The creature made soft sounds, almost like deep breaths of discomfort, but it stayed calm. At one point, it even moved one of its arms slightly to make things easier for him. That small gesture alone gave Rylan confidence that it understood, at least in some way, what he was trying to do. By the time he managed to get the creature onto a heavy transport rig he had on the rover, the sun had fully set. The desert sky filled with stars as he began the slow journey back to his workshop. The creature lay quietly on the rig, its glowing eye occasionally opening to look at him. Rylan found himself speaking to it during the drive, even though he wasn't sure if it understood. "You know," he said, "I've fixed a lot of strange broken things in my life. But you might be the most interesting one yet." The creature blinked again, a slow, meaningful blink, as if responding. After 2 long hours, Rylan reached the workshop. He opened the large sliding doors and carefully drove the rover inside. The workshop lights flickered on, revealing shelves full of tools, spare parts, wires, and old machines in different stages of repair. It was cramped and messy, but it was home. He lowered the creature gently onto the reinforced repair platform. It fit barely, but it fit. The platform groaned under the weight, but it held steady. "All right," Rylan said quietly. "You're safe now." The creature's single glowing eye dimmed slightly. As if relaxing, Rylan took a deep breath and grabbed his equipment. He always felt calm when he worked, and now, even with this strange and enormous being in front of him, that same calm took over. Fixing things was what he understood. And for now, that was enough. He examined the creature carefully, checking both the mechanical and organic parts. The blend of them was unlike anything he had ever seen. It wasn't like mechanical armor strapped on a living creature. It was one being, grown or built in a way that made both parts inseparable. The technology was far more advanced than anything humans had created. After studying the damage, Rylan realized he could only fix part of it. The deeper systems were beyond him for now. But if he could stabilize the creature, stop the sparks, repair the power leak, and treat the organic wounds, it might survive. He worked for hours, focused and patient. He removed the broken spike with slow, careful movements so he wouldn't harm the creature further. He patched the cracked mechanical plate using improvised materials from his workshop. He even treated the burned organic tissue with the best medical supplies he had, though he wasn't sure how much they would help. Throughout the process, the creature remained still. Sometimes it made soft humming sounds, almost like it was communicating appreciation. Other times, it simply watched him with its glowing eye, calm and trusting. By the time Rylan finished, the first light of dawn had begun to creep in. He stepped back, exhausted but satisfied. The creature's breathing was steadier now. Its lights glowed a little brighter. It looked stronger, still weak, but no longer fading. "You're going to be okay," Rylan said gently. "Rest for now." The creature's eyes slowly closed, and a peaceful quiet filled the workshop. As Rylan stood there, watching the strange being he had rescued. He felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: excitement. Not fear, not confusion, but a sense that his life had just changed in a way he couldn't yet understand. Something had crashed into his world from beyond the stars. And somehow, he had become part of its story. He didn't know what would happen next. But for the first time in years, he felt ready for it. Raylan woke up the next morning earlier than usual. He hadn't slept much, but not because he was tired. His mind kept replaying everything that happened the night before: the crash in the desert, the strange metal beast, the long hours of repair. For a moment, he wondered if it had all been some strange dream. But the faint humming sound coming from the workshop reminded him it was very real. He rubbed his eyes, grabbed a cup of warm tea, and walked toward the workshop door. As he pushed it open, a soft blue glow filled the room. The creature was still lying on the repair platform where he had left it. It seemed peaceful now, its chest lights rising and falling in a steady rhythm. The air around it felt warmer, calmer, almost like the creature had settled into the space as if it belonged there. Raylan set his cup aside and moved closer, trying to study it without disturbing it. Even though he had worked on it for hours, he still didn't understand how it was built. The metallic plates looked grown, not manufactured. The organic tissue didn't look like flesh, exactly, more like a flexible layer of living material bonded into the metal. The mixture was so perfect that even the seams between the two were impossible to tell apart. As he leaned closer, the creature's eyes suddenly flickered open. Raylan stepped back instinctively, but the creature didn't move aggressively. Instead, it looked at him with a slow, curious gaze. The blue light inside its eye pulsed gently, almost like a sign of calmness. "You're awake," Raylan said quietly, unsure why he whispered. "How are you feeling today?" "Well, I guess I don't know if you can even understand me." The creature blinked once. A soft hum came from its chest, not loud or frightening, just a low vibration like distant wind. Raylan wasn't sure if it was trying to speak or simply waking up fully. He picked up his toolkit and walked around the creature, checking the repairs he had done. The patched plates were holding. The sparks had stopped. The wounded organic areas looked slightly improved, as if the creature was healing faster than any living thing he'd seen. "I still can't believe you're real," Raylan said under his breath. "And I definitely can't believe I managed to bring you here without anyone noticing." He paused. He had almost forgotten that no one else in town knew about this. If anyone found out, things could become complicated. People might panic, or the authorities might take the creature away. That felt wrong. Raylan didn't fully understand why, but something inside him wanted to protect it. The creature shifted slightly, causing a soft metallic sound. Its massive arm moved an inch, then another. Raylan watched closely. It wasn't trying to stand yet, but it was clearly getting some strength back. "You want to try moving?" he asked. The creature's eye brightened in response. "All right," Raylan said gently. "Slowly. Don't push yourself too hard." The creature placed one arm on the platform and attempted to lift its upper body. Raylan stepped back, giving it space. The platform creaked under the weight, but it held. The creature managed to rise halfway before letting out a low, almost tired hum. "Easy?" "Easy," Raylan said, moving closer and placing a steadying hand on the platform. Even though he knew he was too small to help much physically, the creature rested again, its lights flickering softly. "You're doing fine," Raylan assured it. "Just take your time." He began preparing some basic scans with his homemade diagnostic tools. They weren't advanced enough to fully understand alien technology, but they could at least measure energy flows, heat levels, and activity inside the mechanical parts. As he worked, he noticed something new. The creature's surface, both metal and organic, reacted to his touch. When he placed his hand on its shoulder to check a panel, the blue lines beneath its plating brightened slightly. "That's interesting," he murmured. "Are you responding to me?" The creature made another soft hum. It didn't feel threatening. In fact, the sound reminded Rylan of the way large, friendly animals make soft noises when they're calm. "You're not just a machine, are you?" he said quietly. "You're alive. Fully. Not a robot, not a regular creature. You're something else." The creature blinked slowly. Rylan didn't know if that was agreement or just coincidence. But something told him it understood more than he expected. He spent the next few hours cleaning the damaged areas, tightening connections, and checking the flow of energy inside the metallic structures. At one point, the creature moved its head closer, almost as if examining him while he worked. Rylan chuckled softly. "You're curious too, huh?" "Trust me, I'm just as confused as you are." The creature's eye narrowed slightly, as if mimicking a smile. Rylan found the gesture strangely comforting. Between repairs, he tried speaking to it, hoping it could understand at least the tone of his voice. "You know," he said as he wiped sweat from his forehead, "I usually work on old machines that barely run. People bring me rusted engines and dusty parts. I never thought I'd be repairing something from out there." He pointed up toward the ceiling, as if that somehow represented the stars. The creature followed his gesture with its glowing eye. That small action sent a chill through him, not fear, but amazement. It was aware. It knew where it came from. Rylan grabbed a chair and sat beside the platform for a moment, catching his breath. The creature watched him calmly. "I should figure out a name for you," he said. "It feels weird to keep calling you creature or thing, but I don't know if giving you a name is okay." The creature tilted its head slightly, almost as if waiting for him to continue. "I won't name you without knowing what you are," Rylan said after a moment. "Maybe you already have a name. Or maybe your kind doesn't use names at all." The creature blinked twice slow, deliberate. Rylan raised an eyebrow. Was that a yes or a no? The creature blinked again, the same slow double blink. Rylan laughed softly. "Okay. I don't know what that means, but we'll figure it out eventually." He walked to the side of the workshop where he kept his old communication devices. He turned off anything that could send signals. He didn't want anyone accidentally detecting the creature's energy dot after a while. He returned with some water and food for himself. The creature watched him drink, its glowing eye focusing on the movement. "You don't eat what I eat." "I'm guessing," he said. The creature lowered its gaze to its own chest, where a faint pulse of blue light glowed beneath the plating. Then it looked back at him. "Energy-based? Powered from inside?" Rylan guessed aloud. "That explains why you don't seem hungry." The creature let out a soft hum, which sounded like agreement. As the day went on, the creature tried standing again. This time, it pushed itself a little higher. Rylan stepped back to give it room. Its limbs were strong but shaky, the way someone recovering from an injury might feel. The metal parts made gentle clicking sounds as they shifted into place. "You're improving," Rylan said. "Nice and steady." The creature managed to lift its upper body fully this time, sitting upright on the platform. Rylan couldn't help staring. Its size was incredible, towering even while seated. Its body looked powerful, built for strength and protection. Yet its posture showed care, as if it didn't want to scare him. "You're not dangerous to me, are you?" Rylan asked softly. The creature turned its head slowly and lowered it slightly, almost like a respectful bow. Rylan let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "Okay, I'll take that as a no." He noticed the creature attempting to move its arm. The plates along its elbow shifted, revealing small vents that released warm air. The organic material flexed naturally, adapting like real muscle. "You really are a mix of both worlds," Rylan said in awe. Somehow grown, and built at the same time. I wonder who made you, or if you made yourself. The creature's eye dimmed, then brightened again, like it understood the question, but didn't know how to answer. Relan checked the workshop clock. He had spent almost the entire day here, but he didn't feel bored or restless. The creature's presence felt strangely peaceful. It didn't threaten him. It didn't cause chaos. It simply existed with purpose, silently grateful for his help. When he walked closer, the creature gently lifted one of its hands. The motion was slow, cautious. Ryland froze for a moment, unsure what it wanted. Then the creature placed its hand on the ground beside him and let out a soft, calm tone. "You trust me," Ryland whispered. "And I trust you too. I don't know why, but I do." The creature lowered its head slightly, as if acknowledging the bond forming between them. As evening settled in, Ryland switched off the bright workshop lights and turned on the soft, warm lamps instead. The room took on a calm atmosphere. The creature lay back again on the platform, not out of weakness, but for rest. Ryland pulled up a stool beside it, tired but content. "We're in this together now," he said quietly. "Whatever you came from, whatever happened out there, you're safe here. At least for as long as you need." The creature's chest lights pulsed slowly, almost like a gentle heartbeat. Ryland stayed there for a long while, just watching it breathe, feeling for the first time in his life that something extraordinary had entered his world, and that he had a role to play in its future. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing clearly. The repair was only the beginning. Ryland didn't sleep much that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he kept seeing the creature's glowing blue lights, the way it blinked slowly at him, the way it tried to sit up even with such heavy injuries. His mind kept circling around the same questions. Where did it come from? Why was it alone? Was it just a traveler? Or was something chasing it? And what kind of technology could combine metal and living tissue so perfectly? The next morning, after a quick breakfast, he stepped inside the workshop again. The creature was awake, its glowing eye following him as soon as he entered. It wasn't threatening, if anything. It felt like the creature had been waiting for him. "Morning," Ryland said softly. The creature hummed a low, warm sound. Ryland had started noticing patterns in those hums. Some were calming, some were questioning, some were responses. He couldn't translate them, but he was beginning to understand the creature's intentions through tone alone. He walked over to check the repairs he had done the day before. The creature's organic wounds had healed even more overnight. The metallic plates along its chest and shoulders looked steadier too, no longer vibrating weakly like they did earlier. "You heal fast," Ryland said, impressed. "Much faster than any living thing I've ever seen. And your power levels look more stable." The creature blinked once. As he worked, something caught his eye. A faint glow near the creature's shoulder joint, something he hadn't noticed before. It wasn't the usual blue light. This one was different, shifting between blue and white in slow waves. Ryland frowned slightly and leaned closer. "What's that? Something new?" The creature turned its head slowly, following his gaze. It hummed again, but this time the sound was softer, almost cautious. Ryland placed a palm gently on the glowing area. The light reacted immediately, brightening under his touch. The hum inside the creature's chest deepened slightly. "Okay," Ryland whispered. "There's something here. Something hidden." He reached for his handheld scanner, a simple device he used for circuits and wiring. It wasn't meant for alien technology, but sometimes even basic tools could reveal patterns. As he scanned the glowing area, the screen flashed briefly. Lines of symbols appeared, shapes and curves he had never seen before. The device flickered again, as if struggling to interpret the signal. "Looks like there's a panel here," Ryland murmured. "Something underneath the plating." He carefully pressed around the edges of the glowing area. To his surprise, the plating shifted slightly, almost like the creature allowed it. A small section of its armor slid open, revealing a smooth surface underneath translucent, almost glass-like. A faint symbol pulsed at the center, the same blue-white glow as before. "Is this part of your memory?" Rylan asked softly. "Or something you're protecting?" The creature didn't move, but its eye brightened in a steady rhythm. Raylan took that as permission to continue. He lightly touched the glowing symbol. The moment he did, the workshop lights flickered, and a soft vibration filled the room. Rylan stepped back, unsure what he had activated. A beam of blue light shot upward from the symbol, not dangerous or sharp, just a soft column of light that reached to the ceiling. The creature's body relaxed, as if this activation was natural and not harmful. Then the light shifted. Patterns formed inside its shapes, images, almost like a hologram, but far smoother. At first, they were blurry. Rylan watched in disbelief as the shapes sharpened into something understandable. The images showed stars, lots of them, moving past quickly, as if he was looking through the eyes of something traveling through space. Then came a massive structure, almost like a floating city, made of polished metal and glowing lines. Hundreds of creatures similar to the one in his workshop stood guard around it. Raylan's eyes widened. "There are more like you." The creature lowered its head slightly, the gesture calm and proud. The image shifted again. This time Rylan saw the creature he had repaired, healthy, strong, standing tall as it guarded a glowing sphere in its hands. The sphere pulsed with bright light, swirling inside like a tiny storm. "That thing, you were protecting it?" Rylan asked. The hologram zoomed in on the sphere, then zoomed out to show multiple star systems. A line connected them. Rylan didn't understand the details, but he recognized the symbol on the sphere. It was the same one he saw glowing on the creature's body. The next image startled him. He saw a group of unfamiliar shapes, dark, sharp-looking machines moving through space. They didn't look friendly, but Rylan couldn't say they were enemies either. They were just different. Their shapes were jagged, their lights dim red or purple. They surrounded the guardian-like beings, and the scene showed movement flashes, shifts in position, frantic patterns, but none of it looked violent or harmful like battles in movies. It looked more like energy surges, power distortions, or systems overloads. The guardian creatures, including the one in Rylan's workshop, seemed to be protecting the sphere from these intruders. The hologram then showed a burst of light, and the guardian flying away with the sphere in its chest. The path it took showed an arrow, pointing toward Earth. Rylan swallowed as the images faded slightly. The workshop fell silent, except for the creature's slow, steady hum. "So you were running," he whispered. "Someone was chasing you, or trying to take whatever you're guarding." The creature blinked in a slow, almost tired rhythm. Rylan sensed sadness or strain in its lights, some memory it didn't enjoy remembering. "And you crash-landed here," Rylan continued softly, "because you were injured. And that ship outside, it wasn't just a crash. You escaped something before you got here. Didn't you?" The creature closed its eye briefly, as if agreeing. Rylan let out a long breath and sat on a low stool beside it. His hands rested on his knees as he tried to understand everything. "So, all this time," he said, "you've been protecting something important. Something more important than anything on this planet could imagine." The creature's chest lights pulsed again, softer this time. Raylan wasn't scared. He felt something different, like he had been trusted with a secret far bigger than himself. A secret not meant for governments or scientists or curious neighbors. The creature had allowed him to see its memories. That meant something. He stood and walked around the platform slowly. "I'm trying to figure out why you showed me all this. Do you want me to help, or did you just want me to understand?" The creature lifted its head and looked at him. The blue light inside its eye glowed brighter, not harsh, but warm. A soft hum resonated again, but there was something new in it, a tone he hadn't heard before. A tone that felt like an invitation. "You want me to help you," Raylan whispered, realizing it as he said it. The creature blinked once. "Help you finish your mission? Or protect the sphere? Or protect you?" The creature blinked twice slowly, the same deliberate double blink Raylan had noticed earlier, the one that seemed to mean yes. Raylan rubbed the back of his neck. "I'm just a mechanic, you know. I fix broken parts, not whatever this is. This is bigger than anything I've ever seen." But the creature didn't look away. It didn't doubt him. In its expression, if he could call it that, there was trust. Deep trust. Raylan sighed, not in frustration, but in acceptance. Something inside him felt oddly right, as if this was what he was meant to do. As if repairing the creature wasn't just luck, it was a turning point in his life. The hologram flickered again, fading slowly until the workshop returned to normal. The panel on the creature's shoulder slid back into place, hiding the symbol completely. Raylan sat back down. "All right," he said quietly. "If you trust me with this, then I'll help you. But we need to understand what that sphere is. We need to know if those other things out there are still looking for you. And we definitely need to keep you hidden." The creature lowered its head again, almost like a nod. Raylan stood and stretched his tired back. "But before anything else, you need to fully recover. Only then can we figure out what we're going to do." He grabbed a fresh set of tools and began checking the creature's systems again. The creature watched him with patient, gentle interest. It didn't feel like a master and servant. It felt like two beings trying to understand each other, trying to build trust in a world where neither quite belonged. Hours passed as Raylan worked. The creature moved occasionally, testing its strength. It hummed softly when something hurt or felt strange. Raylan adjusted his repairs, reassured it, and kept working calmly. By evening, the creature was able to lift both arms without strain. Its energy readings had climbed higher. Its breathing sounded steady and strong. "You're getting there," Raylan said with a small smile. "Soon you'll be able to stand properly." The creature blinked, its eye glowing brighter. Raylan glanced at the closed shoulder panel, remembering the images he saw earlier. The stars, the sphere, the strange machines chasing it. "If there's more coming," he whispered, "we need to be ready." The creature hummed a quiet, steady tone, almost like saying it understood. Raylan didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for sure. The secrets hidden inside the creature were only the beginning, and whatever it had shown him today was preparing him for something far greater. The workshop felt different, now no longer just a place for repairs. It had become a bridge between two worlds, and Raylan was standing right in the middle. Raylan woke up before sunrise again. It had become a habit now. Ever since the creature arrived, he felt a strange sense of purpose. Each morning, he found himself wondering what new thing he would learn about it, what new sign of recovery he would see. He walked into the workshop quietly, almost on his toes, even though the creature didn't actually sleep the way humans did. It rested, but the soft blue lights inside its body never fully turned off. They just dimmed a little when it was in a calm state. When Raylan entered, the creature lifted its head slightly. Its eye glowed in a warm blue tone, almost like a greeting. "Morning," Raylan said softly. "Looks like you rested well." The creature hummed a gentle tone. Raylan had grown used to the sounds by now. He could almost read emotions from them. This one felt peaceful, relaxed. He walked around the platform and saw something surprising. The creature had managed to shift its position during the night. Yesterday, it could barely sit up. Now, it had pushed itself halfway upright, bracing one arm carefully on the platform. Wow, Ryland said softly, impressed. You're getting stronger a lot faster than I expected. The creature blinked once, a slow and calm gesture, like agreeing. Ryland grabbed a set of tools from the nearby shelf. He had planned to do some more repairs and tests today, but the creature lifted one hand slightly, as if stopping him. What is it? Ryland asked. The creature slowly pressed its palm against its own chest. The lights under its plating brightened and dimmed in a steady pattern. Then, with a soft hum, it tapped the spot twice. You want me to check something there? Ryland asked. The creature repeated the gentle, tapping gesture. Ryland moved closer and placed his hand where the creature had indicated. The plating felt warmer than the rest of its body, almost like something inside was waking up. He stepped back slightly as the plating shifted on its own. A smooth line opened across the creature's chest, revealing a faint glow within. It wasn't bright or dangerous. It looked like a soft ball of swirling light. Not solid, not sharp, just floating energy inside a chamber. Ryland stared quietly for a moment. Is this the thing you were guarding in the hologram? The creature breathed out a low hum that sounded almost like a yes. Ryland didn't touch it. He didn't even move too close. He respected the creature's trust, and he didn't want to risk hurting it or damaging the delicate glowing sphere. It's beautiful, he said softly. The creature closed its plating again, as if showing him that the sphere was safe and stable. Then, slowly, it tried pushing itself further upright. Ryland stepped closer, holding his hands out in case he needed to help. Take it slow. You're a lot heavier than you look. The creature planted both hands on the platform and shifted its weight carefully. Its body trembled a little from the effort, and Ryland instinctively placed a steadying hand on one of its metallic forearms. The creature paused briefly, almost surprised by the touch, then leaned into the support. That's it, Ryland encouraged. Step by step, with one final push, the creature managed to sit fully upright. It wasn't standing yet, but its posture was strong now. The platform creaked again under its weight, but this time it sounded steady instead of strained. You did it, Ryland said with genuine excitement. Good job. The creature made a deeper hum that vibrated softly through the workshop. It sounded proud. Ryland sat on a stool nearby, rubbing a bit of dust from his hands. I guess the next step is helping you learn how to move again. Or maybe you already know how you just need strength. The creature slowly lifted one arm and flexed the joints. The metallic plates shifted smoothly now. The organic parts didn't show any sign of strain. It seemed to be testing its mobility, observing how the repairs had bonded. You move better than most machines I've repaired, Ryland said with a smile as if responding to the compliment. The creature rolled one shoulder, and a soft ripple of light ran across its upper plating. Ryland stood up again. Before we try walking, I want to run a quick scan, just to make sure everything's stable. He walked to the side and picked up his scanner. The creature watched him curiously as he waved the device along its torso and arms. Energy flow looks good, Ryland said as he studied the screen. Your internal systems are stabilizing. And the organic parts, well, they're healing faster than anything I've seen in my life. The creature blinked slowly. Ryland lowered the scanner and took a deep breath. All right. Do you want to try standing? The creature didn't answer verbally, but its eye brightened, and it placed both hands on the platform. Ryland stepped back, giving it space, but staying close enough to help. Easy, he said softly. The creature shifted its weight forward. Its legs, which had been resting unused, slowly unfolded. The joints made soft clicking sounds as they activated again. Ryland held his breath as the creature pressed its feet against the platform. You're doing great, he murmured with slow, deliberate effort. The creature pushed upward. Its large body trembled for a moment, but its strength held. Then, With a deep hum of effort, it rose fully to its feet. Reland stared in awe. The creature towered above him, massive, elegant, and powerful. Even injured, it was impressive. "You're standing," Ryland whispered, smiling. "You did it." The creature stood still for a moment, adjusting to its height. Then it looked down at Ryland with a gentle blue glow. Ryland took a small step closer. "Do you feel okay? Balanced?" The creature hummed softly in agreement. "All right," Ryland said. "Let's try a small step." "Just one?" The creature moved 1 foot forward carefully. Its movement was controlled, almost graceful. The metallic parts shifted smoothly, and the organic sections stretched without strain. Ryland nodded. "Perfect. Try one more." The creature took another step, steadier this time. Its energy lights brightened slightly, as if pleased with its own progress. "You're stronger than I thought," Ryland said. "And you're learning fast." The creature paused and looked around the workshop. Its gaze moved over the tools, the shells, the half-finished projects, as if studying Ryland's world for the first time. Ryland followed its gaze. "This place isn't much, but it's home. And now it's your home too. At least for now." The creature lowered its head slightly, a respectful acknowledgement that made Ryland's chest warm. After a few minutes, Ryland guided the creature back to the platform, and it sat again slowly, without collapse. Its recovery was progressing at a surprising pace. Ryland walked around to face it directly. "You showed me your memories yesterday. The stars, the place you came from, the thing you were protecting. I've been thinking about it all night." The creature tilted its head slightly. "I think," Ryland continued, "you weren't just running. You were trying to bring that thing somewhere safe. Maybe Earth wasn't your plan, but it became your emergency landing spot. And now you're trusting me with all this." The creature hummed a soft, warm tone. Ryland scratched his chin thoughtfully. "You know, maybe that sphere inside your chest isn't just some object. Maybe it's something your species values deeply. Maybe it's something that needs to stay safe, no matter what." The creature blinked slowly. "And if those machines I saw in your memories were chasing you, I don't think they're done searching." The creature's lights dimmed slightly at the thought, almost like worry. Ryland placed a hand gently on its arm. "Don't worry. You're not alone now. We'll protect you. And that sphere." The creature hummed again, softer, almost grateful. Ryland sat on the stool and sighed. "But for that, you need to be ready. Not for fighting, just for surviving. For moving. For staying hidden. And for communicating with me better." The creature tilted its head again, curious. Ryland smiled. "Yeah, communication. We need a way for you to tell me things clearly." The creature slowly lifted one hand and tapped its chest twice, the same gesture it used before. "Oh," Ryland said, eyes widening a little. "You're trying to show me something again?" The creature tapped its chest once more, then pointed gently toward Ryland's workbench. "You want something from there?" Ryland asked. The creature nodded slightly. Ryland walked over and looked at the tools. "Which one?" The creature hummed a specific tone he hadn't heard before. Ryland looked around, trying to match the tone to something. Then he saw it an old rectangular interface device he had bought years ago, but never used because it wasn't compatible with human tech. He held it up. "This?" The creature's eye brightened instantly. Ryland carried it over. "You can use this?" The creature gently took it in one hand. It turned the device slowly, as if recognizing it. Then it placed the device against the same spot on its shoulder where the panel had opened earlier. A faint ripple of light spread across its plating. Ryland stepped back. "You're activating it?" The device suddenly displayed tiny blue symbols flowing, shifting patterns like the ones from the hologram. The creature hummed softly, as if linking with it, Then, something incredible happened. A single symbol on the device glowed brighter. And then, a soft voice, calm, neutral, almost musical, came out from the device. Not in human language, but clear enough that Rylan understood its meaning through tone alone. Connected. Rylan froze, eyes wide. "You can speak? Through this?" The creature blinked once, proud and calm. Raylan let out a breath of amazement. "This changes everything." The creature's lights glowed softly, like a quiet promise. Raylan smiled. "All right. Let's learn from each other." Outside, the desert was quiet, peaceful, calm, but inside the workshop, two different worlds had just taken their first true step toward understanding each other. Rylan felt something deep inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. Rylan didn't sleep much that night. Not because he was scared or stressed, but because he couldn't stop thinking about what had just happened. The creature, now able to speak through the small interface device, had opened a door he never imagined would open in his life. He lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, replaying every little sound, every glowing symbol, every small hum the creature had made. By sunrise, he gave up on sleep entirely. He washed his face, threw on a jacket, and walked straight to the workshop. When he opened the door, the creature was already awake, sitting upright, its lights glowing brighter than usual. "Morning," Rylan said. Rubbing the back of his neck, the creature lifted the device in its hand. The blue symbols lit up for a moment. Then a soft voice came from it, still not human language, but clearer than before. Rylan couldn't understand the words, but he could understand the tone. It sounded like a greeting. "Guess we both had a long night," Rylan said with a small smile. The creature blinked slowly in agreement. Rylan grabbed a piece of bread from his pocket and chewed quietly as he walked around the workshop. He had always been a simple man: work, food, rest. But now his routine was completely different. Each day brought something new, something strange, something exciting. He stopped and looked at the creature. "We need to figure out your next steps. You're getting stronger. Your body is healing, and now you can communicate a little. But you can't stay in this workshop forever." The creature hummed a thoughtful sound. Raylan set down the bread and pulled a small stool closer. "Last night, after you activated that device, I noticed something. Your lights were shifting in patterns. It almost felt like emotions." The creature tapped the device once. The blue symbols shifted again, and the soft voice inside spoke a single word, still unfamiliar, but with a gentle tone. Rylan understood what it meant. "Yes, so you do feel things," Rylan said softly. "Thought so." The creature looked at him with its calm single eye. Even though it didn't have a human face, Rylan felt its expression. Curiosity, trust, maybe, even something close to gratitude. He pulled a small notebook from his pocket. "All right, let's start simple. If we're going to communicate, we need a way to understand each other correctly." He held up one hand. "This means stop, right?" he asked. The creature blinked once, confirming. Raylan nodded. "Good. And tapping your chest means you're trying to show me something important." Another slow blink. Raylan chuckled. "We're getting somewhere." He walked over to the big metal door of the workshop and pulled it open. Bright sunlight flooded the room. The creature shifted slightly at the sudden change of brightness. "It's okay," Raylan said. "You can look." The creature moved slowly, turning its head toward the outside world. The desert stretched wide and open. Pale sand, distant hills, and a long empty road, the same road that had once been filled with dust and smoke when the creature crash-landed. The creature stared for a long moment. Its lights dimmed and brightened gently, like it was thinking deeply. Raylan leaned against the doorway. "Yeah, that's Earth. Not much out here, I know. But people live a little farther that way. He pointed toward the distant town. The creature's eyes shifted slightly, following the direction. We'll have to be careful, Ryland said. I don't want anyone to see you yet. Not because I don't trust them, but because I don't know how they'll react. The creature hummed a low sound that felt like understanding. Raylan stepped back inside and closed the door. Before anything else, let's do some tests. I want to see how strong you are now. The creature gently placed the communication device beside itself, then lowered its legs over the edge of the platform. It pushed itself upright, slower than yesterday, but more controlled. When it stood fully, Rylan stepped back a little, giving it room. Try moving your arm, Rylan instructed. The creature lifted one arm smoothly, the metallic plates shifting perfectly. Rylan watched closely, nodding to himself. Looks good. What about your balance? The creature took one cautious step, then another. No shaking, no collapse. Rylan whistled softly. You're doing great. Way better than before. Then something unexpected happened. The creature turned slightly too fast, and its foot scraped against one of the toolboxes on the floor. The box fell over with a loud clang. The creature froze instantly. Raylan raised his hands. Relax, it's fine. But the creature wasn't reacting to the sound. It was reacting to something else. The blue glow along its arms brightened suddenly. A soft vibration rippled through its body, not like fear, but alertness. Rylan frowned. What is it? The creature stepped toward the window, slow and cautious. It placed one hand against the glass and stared outside, its eye narrowing. Rylan joined it and looked through the glass. At first, he didn't see anything. Just sand, sky, and sunlight. But then he heard a faint mechanical hum in the distance. Not loud, not close, but real. Something was moving out there. Rylan's heartbeat quickened. Are they coming? He whispered. The creature didn't answer with the device. Instead, its lights pressed into a thin, tense pattern. Its body lowered slightly, like it was preparing for something. Rylan swallowed hard. Okay, let's not panic. He walked away from the window and began moving tools, crates, anything he could find to block the door from sight. We need to stay quiet. The creature backed away from the window too, careful not to make any noise. After a few minutes, the humming sound faded. Rylan waited another moment before letting out a deep breath. Maybe it was just a drone from the town. They use them to check for weather changes sometimes. The creature lifted the communication device. A symbol lit up, and the soft voice spoke a short word. The meaning felt heavy. No. Rylan stared at it. So it was them? The creature nodded slowly. Raylan felt a cold twist in his stomach. Then they're searching for you. He sat down hard on a stool and ran his hands through his hair. This is bad. If they find you, I don't know what they'll do. And I don't know what they'll do to me either. The creature lowered its head slightly, its lights dimming in worry. Raylan looked up at it. Hey, don't do that. It's not your fault. He stood again and walked closer. Look, you trusted me. You came here. I'm not going to throw you out just because things got complicated. The creature blinked slowly, as if grateful. But we have to plan, Rylan continued. We can't just wait for them to find us. He paced the workshop and stopped near the big covered tarp in the corner. After a long silence, he pulled the tarp away, revealing something he had been working on for months, a large metal frame shaped like an incomplete vehicle. This was supposed to be my project, Rylan said. Something to help me travel across the desert easier. But right now, it might help you instead. The creature tilted its head in curiosity. It's strong, Rylan said. It's fast. And with your energy, I think it can be powered better than any engine I've ever built. The creature looked between the frame and Rylan. Rylan shrugged. We can't stay here forever. If those machines find this place, we're both done. But if we move, maybe we can stay ahead of them. Maybe we can find where you're supposed to go. The creature tapped the device. A voice spoke one gentle word. Rylan didn't understand the language, but he understood the emotion behind it, that it meant trust. Rylan smiled a little. Yeah, I trust you too. He grabbed a welding mask and powered up one of the tools. Sparks flew as he started cutting through a thick metal beam. The creature watched him quietly at first. Then surprised him. It lifted one of its hands. Light gathered inside its palm, soft, gentle, warm. Then it extended the glow toward the metal frame. The metal didn't melt or break. Instead, it fused smoothly, like it was healing. Rylan stepped back, jaw-dropping. You can repair metal? The creature nodded slightly. Rylan laughed in disbelief. Well, that makes things a whole lot easier. They spent hours working together. The creature used its glowing energy to fuse metal pieces gently, and Rylan tightened bolts, shaped parts, and adjusted the frame's balance. They didn't need to talk much. Their teamwork came naturally. By midday, the structure looked stronger than ever before, more stable, more balanced, more powerful. Rylan stepped back to admire it. This might actually work. The creature touched the frame gently, its hand glowing. Rylan noticed something then. The creature wasn't afraid anymore. Its lights were steady, calm, focused. You believe we can do this? Rylan asked. The creature tapped the device. A single word came through, soft and clear in tone. Yes. Rylan took a deep breath. Then we'll keep building. And when the time comes, we'll leave before anyone or anything finds us. He walked toward the door, peeked outside at the empty desert, then looked back at the creature. We're not running, he said quietly. We're preparing. The creature's lights brightened. Rylan smiled faintly. Let's finish this. And together, under the dusty desert sunlight filtering through the workshop windows, they began building their way toward survival and whatever waited for them next. Rylan didn't realize how long he and the creature had been working until the sun dipped behind the hills. The workshop felt warm from all the effort they'd put in. The new machine part vehicle, part shelter stood in the center of the room like a silent promise. Strong metal, thick supports, energy channels designed with help from the creature itself. Rylan walked around it slowly, wiping sweat from his forehead. Almost there, he whispered. Just a few more things. The creature stood close by, its lights glowing a steady blue. Ever since the strange humming sound earlier that morning, both of them had worked with a new seriousness. Not fear, but focus. They knew time was running out. Rylan grabbed a pack of tools and climbed onto the frame. He tightened a metal brace and checked the energy conductor the creature had created. It glowed softly, connecting different parts of the machine like veins. You know, Rylan said without looking down, when I first met you, I thought you were going to tear this place apart. The creature made a soft, amused hum. Rylan laughed. Don't do that. You're too big for jokes. The creature blinked in a way that almost looked like a smile. Rylan climbed down and stepped back. All right. Energy cores next. Then we test if this thing actually moves. The creature tapped the device it had been using to communicate. A symbol lit up, ready. The gentle voice said. Rylan nodded and knelt beside a large compartment on the side of the machine. He opened it carefully, revealing an empty chamber. I built this to hold a normal fuel core, but yours is different. You generate your own energy. I don't know how much power you'd need to give. The creature studied the compartment for a long moment. Then its chest plating shifted slightly, not opening fully, just enough to let a faint glow out. Rylan lifted both hands. Hey, don't take it out. Keep it safe. Just give whatever you can spare. The creature touched the compartment with one hand. A soft pulse of light spread into the machine, filling the chamber with a warm glow. The entire frame lit up, gentle lines of blue shining across the metal. Rylan stepped back slowly. That is more than I expected. The creature's light settled, steady and calm. Raylan checked a panel on the side of the frame. The reading showed stable energy, flowing evenly. It wasn't too much or too little, just right. Perfect, Rylan whispered. Let's test it. He climbed into the front seat, pulling down the small screen he had crafted. The creature watched him closely. All right, he said, taking a deep breath. Here goes nothing. He pressed a switch. For a moment, nothing happened. The workshop stayed quiet. Then the machine hummed softly. The energy veins inside the frame glowed brighter, and the engine, silent but powerful, activated. Raylan felt the vibration under his feet and stared in disbelief. It works. He pressed another switch. The wheels turned slightly, gripping the floor. Not too fast, but controlled. It actually works, he repeated, laughing softly. The creature touched the side of the machine gently. Almost like patting a large animal, Rylan climbed out and walked toward the creature. We did it. You and me. A strange team, but somehow, we did it. The creature blinked slowly, its lights glowing softly. But then the creature suddenly stiffened. Rylan froze. What's wrong? The creature walked to the window again. Its eye focused on something in the distance. Rylan joined it, heart thumping. He squinted at the desert dot. At first he saw nothing. Then he heard it, a humming sound, faint but growing. Not like wind. Not like town drones. Something else. Something searching. No, Rylan whispered. Not now. The creature lowered its body slightly, protective. Its lights dimmed, then brightened again as if preparing for something. Rylan backed away from the window. We have to go. Now. He grabbed a pack of food and water, tossed in a few tools, and strapped everything onto the side of the machine. The creature moved quickly toward the platform where the communication device rested. It picked it up and placed it gently inside the machine near where Rylan would sit. That's right, Rylan said. We'll need it. The humming grew louder. Not close yet, but no longer far. Rylan felt panic rise. Come on. We don't have much time. The creature approached the machine. It placed one hand on the side, testing the strength. Rylan nodded. Climb in carefully. You're heavy. Take it slow. The creature lowered itself onto the back section of the vehicle, specially reinforced to carry its weight. Rylan felt the machine dip slightly, but hold steady. Good, he said. Perfect. He climbed into the front seat again, checking the controls. Hold on. I don't know how smooth this will be. The creature tapped the device. A soft voice spoke. Go. Rylan pressed the control panel. The machine hummed, wheels turning. It moved forward slowly at first, adjusting to the weight. Then faster, smoother. Outside the workshop, the desert stretched ahead, open and quiet. Rylan pushed a switch, and the large workshop door opened. Bright sunlight washed over them. This is it, he whispered. No turning back. He pressed his foot down, and the machine rolled out onto the sand. Behind them, the small workshop, the only home Rylan had ever known, grew smaller as they drove. The creature turned to look at it one last time. Its lights dimmed slightly, as if feeling something like sadness. I know, Rylan said softly. I'll miss it too. The humming sound behind them suddenly sharpened. Rylan twisted around, eyes widening in the distance. Dark shapes appeared against the bright sand. Not clear, not close enough to see details, but definitely moving. Definitely searching. Faster, Rylan muttered, pushing the machine harder. The creature watched the shapes with steady eyes. Its lights flickered with a pattern Rylan recognized as alertness. But not fear. They drove across the desert for a long time. Sand flew behind them. Wind pressed against Rylan's face. He didn't know where they were going just far. Far enough to stay ahead. Hours passed. The shapes behind them faded, then disappeared completely. Rylan slowed the machine and finally brought it to a stop near a rocky ridge. The desert stretched endlessly, quiet once more. "We're safe," he said, exhaling deeply. "For now." The creature stepped off the machine, its movements stronger than ever. It walked to the ridge and looked toward the sky. Its eye glowed a deep, thoughtful blue. Rylan walked beside it. "What now?" The creature lifted the communication device. A long symbol appeared. The soft voice spoke gently. "North." Rylan looked at the empty northern horizon. "Nothing there except more sand. You're sure?" The creature blinked slowly. Rylan nodded. "All right. North it is. But before we go—" He scratched the back of his neck, looking down at the sand. "I want to say something." The creature turned to him. Rylan took a slow breath. "I know you didn't choose to crash here. I know you had a mission, something important to protect. And somehow, that brought you to me." The creature's light softened. Rylan looked up, eyes steady. "You changed my life. I didn't have friends. I didn't have anyone. Just metal and tools. But now, I'm part of something bigger. Something meaningful." The creature placed its hand gently against Rylan's shoulder. Not heavy, not forceful, just reassuring. Rylan smiled faintly. "We'll figure this out together. Whatever's out there, whatever's chasing you, we'll stay ahead. And maybe, one day, we'll find the place you belong." The creature tapped the device. This time, the voice spoke a word Rylan still couldn't understand, but the tone was clear. Warm, filled with emotion. It meant together. Rylan climbed back into the machine. The creature settled onto the back. He started the engine again. The soft hum filled the air. He looked at the creature once more. "Ready?" The creature blinked slowly. Rylan nodded. "Let's go." The machine rolled forward, heading north across the endless desert. Sunlight gleamed on the metal frame. Wind carried the faint sound of the engine. Behind them, the past faded. Ahead of them, a new journey waited, one neither of them fully understood, but both were ready to face. Together, a human mechanic and an alien guardian beast crossed the sands, moving toward a future shaped by trust, courage, and a bond no one could have expected. And somewhere deep inside the creature's chest, the glowing sphere pulsed gently, safe, protected, and guiding them toward whatever destiny waited beyond the horizon.